Alrighty folks, I'm back again. I wanted to do this other video. I've posted one on Space 1999 already, but I really never had a chance to express it all, of what it was about, because when I did the first one I was outside and you had all that noise going on from outside events, cars going by, airplanes flying over. I wanted to do this one. Hopefully you guys can see some of the scenes coming by the screen here now, this time, like you did. Space 1999 to me is it's a dream. It's a dream beyond understanding for me, because I always hoped that by the time that date came up, September 13th, 1999, we really would have had a moon base. And then to find out that the government basically had phased out all of it. They didn't want people anymore to think that we would be exploring space, because we ran out of money. That's why they stopped the Apollo program. And the shuttle was a joke. The shuttle was to put things in space, but that's all. It wasn't for us to actually explore beyond the moon. It wasn't to go back to the moon or land there. It was just to really study the Earth. By the 80s, people were health conscious about everything, conserving the environment, conserving the Earth and all the rest. So that's what really the shuttle program became, just this fiasco of we're gonna offer people only certain things, and that's gonna be it. And you're not gonna have a choice anymore to say, I don't want to see that, or we want to go someplace else, and they don't want to do it. So that's a box. I'm tight on space here, folks, so I'm having to do this wherever I had a chance to put things. But with Space 1999, the first season was by far the best, because Jerry Anderson himself made it. The second season, it became more or less Freddie Freiberger was an old idea from Star Trek, because that's what he did. He worked on Star Trek, and they figured, well, he'll give us much more perceptions of what the show could do. And it flopped. It really did flop. It was not what people expected it to be. And for me as a fan, because I saw the show in the 70s when it was on television, I loved the first season, because there was so much depth to the storylines, and not just how he showed it on television, but just how there was this really close-knit family unit between all the cast. And when the second season came up, he's like, this isn't even the same show anymore. It had some of the same people in it, but there wasn't that same interrelationship between the cast members like there was in the first season. And like Jerry Anderson said years later, he said, if you're going to have Freddie Freiberger do this, he says, I'm not putting my name on it. So all they did was say it was created by Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, and that was the extent of it. And then they just simply went to Freddie Freiberger as being the producer, the executive producer, all the rest of it. And you saw the result. It didn't last for one more season. If Jerry Anderson had probably been able to take the helm again, it probably would have lasted either 4 or 5 seasons, I guarantee you, because Jerry Anderson is who made the show. He's not only the creator, he did what most people cannot do with a show like that. He knew how to project himself with his audience, and they got it. And all the other shows, I hate to say this to fans of Thunderbirds, but really I consider Thunderbirds bland, like Secret Service, like Joe 90. He did all those shows, but it had no flair to it. Here's some good puppet shows that he did do. Stingray, beautiful show. It had a lot of interaction between the cast. The stories were wonderful. XL5, Fireball, that's the same kind of camaraderie. The rest of it was more or less about the technology issue. What they could do, with the props, but not about the storylines or the plot itself of who was in it. The Stacys, all the rest of them. But I tip my hat off to Jerry Anderson for doing Space 1999, because for storyline and for subject matter, it just clicked in my mind. Never knew anything about Martin Landau or Barbara Bain doing Mission Impossible. I've only just now started watching those shows because I had no interest in shows that had to do with action. But when they did the show for space, it was like they did the characters in such a human way that you just related to them. You know, and that's what I always remembered about Space 1999 was that, you know, you saw it late in the evening as a kid, you knew he was going to bed, and you felt like, hey, you know, this is my family. I mean, on television, we all interacted with what we were watching, and you never forget some things about space. Some episodes I still remember after all these years that I saw them once, and I was like, it always stuck in my mind. I never forgot about it again. So that's just my personal reflections on Space 1999. I loved it. I always will love the show. If you have a chance to watch any of my personal episodes that I've made about the show since, you'll really love it, because I have tried to do what Sylvia and Jerry Anderson never got to do, to explain what happened on Earth after they left. You know, when they did Journey to Where, we found out that the Earth existed, but now it was totally different. They had it split into different regions. Texas City, you know, space Station 1, Planet Earth, that sort of thing. But it never explained what happened about all that nuclear waste that they had to get rid of. Well, in my episodes, I tried to say they put them on the poles to get rid of, get the stuff out of the regions where the human race was living, but keep them where they wouldn't be contaminating the Earth. And over time, it created that same scenario like Area 1. It all began to be this huge magnetic radioactive wasteland, and it screwed up the Earth's axis. It took it out of the Earth's orbit. I mean, out of the sun's orbit. The Earth itself was no longer able to stay where it was circling our solar system. And I kind of left it there because I figured, well, I don't have that potential to do a whole series like these big movie companies could do with it, but I wanted to give you a little hint of what could have happened. Because at the end, if anybody's seen my last episode, you'll know that I had my evil character at the end goes to Moonbase Alpha, and then they shoot me and kill me, but then I come back more powerful, and then I blow up the whole moon. Well, that was just a little bonus feature. I had no intention to do that, but then I thought, hey, you know, if this is my last episode, let's just go out with a bang. So I had it happen where everything blew up. So I always love those kinds of things. So thank you again for this chance to express my feelings about space for a second time using a new process. I love to do this. I love to superimpose myself with shots from space, and maybe sometime in the future y'all might be able to have me interact with some scenes from the show, but right now I'm just trying to do something to put myself in the show